Phil,
Yes, Danielle.
welcome to the Rapture.
Oh my, like the end of the world.
This is what the Rapture looks like.
It's beautiful, it's scenic.
It's very, very pretty. It's Jotun. It's named Jotun, apparently.
This is not bad at all. Much better than I expected.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. So this game is everybody has gone to the Rapture.
Yeah, so this is the Chinese room, right?
That's right. They made Dear Esther and the 2 years ago maybe Amnesia Machine for Pigs.
Yeah, Amnesia sequel.
Yes.
Thing.
So they are known for making sort of story, like narrative-heavy first-person games that are very pretty.
Yeah, and we're hearing some audio here.
Some of that story right here, basically. So the premise of this game, I did a demo the other day, played about half an hour of it, is you're sort of walking around in this world, seeing what has happened already. Yeah. So you're walking around, you're getting some audio clues, there's a radio, but as you'll see in a second, there are actually sort of beams of light that sort of guide you around a little bit from event to event. You're actually going to see like what had happened, like little tiny bits of memory, different little blips of these events.
So I'm a huge fan of the Chinese room. I really liked the second Amnesia game, and I really liked Dear Esther quite a bit.
Me too.
One of the criticisms that some people lobby against those games and this developer is that there's not a lot of game to the games, right? It's very... it's
more of an interactive story than a classic game.
From what you've seen, obviously this is early. The game has no release date right now, right?
Yeah, I think 2015, I think the demo person was saying aiming for summer, but didn't have a specific day.
From what you've seen, is there much... Is that different here? Is there a more of a gameplay loop, or is it still very much a, like... narrative driven, you know, you're primarily in it for the story. There's not going to be a whole lot of like traditional video gamey stuff.
Sure. I mean, it is still very much largely walking around an environment, sort of taking things in. You'll see in a second here, there are some gameplay elements. Basically, when you see these balls of light where you see distortions in the scenery here, you're actually sort of turning the 6-axis to see how the light is moving a little bit. You're turning the 6-axis to kind of get it to the right place where it will show you a memory.
Sure.
So this is a very light, you know, it's not like a QTE or anything, but it's sort of a light interactive element. They wanted it to be sort of tactile and as if you were manipulating something in real life, I think.
We'll just stop and listen here.
Yeah.
Don't you understand? It's breaching the quarantine and adapting.
Give me that bloody can. Hand it over, Appleton.
Get off.
You weedy little shit.
It's mine.
So it seems like part of what's going on here is not just getting to discover, see these scenes prior to whatever event happened, but maybe trying to piece together what that event was.
Exactly.
Trying to get these little bits and pieces of what exactly led to the Rapture.
Yes.
Do you know, in what you've seen, do you actually meet anyone else who's alive right now? Assuming that you're playing a character, I guess.
Well, there are radios that I've played. Not in this, the gameplay footage that we have here, not so much. But there are radios broadcasting things. And it's not clear whether it's broadcasting in the, recent past or in the present.
Sure.
It's not quite clear, at least to me, yet. I'm sort of in a demo.
Is it clear, from what you played, whether or not you are playing a character, or are you just supposed to be like a disembodied, like...
Not clear yet.
Okay.
You might be, you certainly have footsteps as you're hearing, so there's sort of a presence to you. You're not just a ghost camera, basically, but it's not clear kind of who you are. But there are set characters. There are people that you actually kind of get to know.
You're over in the UK here. From the
yes,
looks of
this
it.
is Shropshire. I hope I'm
believe,
saying that right. There's a little bit more story in here, too. We hear a little tiny snippet. Something
so
medical
I think,
is going on, basically, yeah.
I think the Chinese room is actually based out of the UK, too, so I'm sure it's exciting for them to get to create something in a landscape that they are very familiar with.
A very specific time and place. So this actually takes place, the demo person was telling me, in the mid-'80s, I believe, in Shropshire, which is a place in sort of middle western England. It's sort of the Midwest area kind of the country, where it kind of has this like rolling countryside, this sort of like small town feel, that sort of thing that he was explaining to me. as a non-English English person. So,
did they give you any sense of, of length? That was another thing. Obviously, Dear Esther is like a 20-minute experience.
Sure.
The second Amnesia game, quite a bit longer than that, but still very short.
Still
even
pretty short,
compared to the original Amnesia, it's still only
couple
4 or
of
5
hours. Yeah, basically.
at the absolute max.
I think he was saying, this was sort of as I was waiting in line to play this myself,
Yeah.
he was saying to someone, I think they were aiming for about 6 hours or so, which is a fairly decent length, especially for such a story-based game.
Yeah, I mean,
games like this are never,
this is
they
not
tend not to
necessarily
be long.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily the type of thing that you want to spend.
Sure,
a
40
million
hours
in
or something, of course. Yeah, it's just very pretty, very well rendered. It seems like, in the environment we see the police car and things like that. You see the signs of what had happened. There are, literal signs earlier sort of on the shop doors saying things like quarantine or town meeting, sort of hastily scrawled. And you get to know the characters really well. Sort of early on in the demo, we get to see a memory of a woman and an older woman talking, and the older woman's kind of goading the younger woman into, like, hey, go on a date with the old flame, that sort of thing. So, there's actually a real sense of humanity and sort of presence to these characters, and it feels very believable and real.
Let me ask this. In your write-up, which people can go read on Polygon.com and should check out,
yes.
You mentioned that the game almost made you cry.
It almost did.
Can I ask why?
Sure. I don't want to spoil it too much for anyone, but there is, as part of the storyline, basically you're seeing people as this is happening. So you're seeing kind of before this is happening and as it's happening. And there's a scene that's very, very heartfelt. It kind of happens inside of a house where two characters are talking about what happened to their children, basically.
Okay.
And it's this really kind of hits you right in the gut kind of thing. And it's not explicit in any way. It certainly leaves you a little bit confused and kind of wanting more and wanting to know more. But there's an element of dread. Basically, she's afraid to go upstairs and see what happened upstairs.
Sure.
And she's talking to another character about that. So
I will say, based off what I've seen so far, I do want to see more. I am left wanting more. So
yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
So am I. I'm very much looking forward to playing this. And hopefully we'll see more of this very soon.